Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. We're looking at something a little bit different today. This was sent to me by GOYOJO Optics with no monetary sort of financial things changing places. They just said, can we send you something, take a look at it, let us know your thoughts. We're not going to get involved with what you say about it. And I said, yeah, sure. So this is a thermal optic by GOYOJO Optics, and we're going to quickly open this up. It comes in a really nice box. I've had this for a while, and I know they've been chasing me, seeing how I'm getting on with the review, but I've literally just took my time with it and really spent some time just playing around with it and such. So in there you'll get a QR certificate. Now this is the GRS225RF model, I think. So you've got a manual here, tells you all about it. This is kind of designed for real still shooters as well as, probably more so. You've got a USB cable in there. In here you have a set of scope mounts. They are just generic cheap scope mounts, but they are Picatinny ones. If it was me, I'd probably be attaching this onto your rifle or whatever with a cantilever of some sorts. And we have the optic itself. So this is the GRS225RF. You do get a CR123A battery in there as well. But I'm just going to show you what this thing looks like. So this is a thermal optic. That's the only thing that it does. It's very simplistic to use. We did look at the one leaf night vision optic not too long ago. And like I say, I have just been playing around with this, and it'll be very apparent in the videos I'm about to show you. So I took this to HC2 the one day back when it was really cold in winter, and I literally just set it up. It was difficult because I literally just took this with me on a whim, and I was sort of propping it up on boxes. What I will say in that footage when you see it is that the site was that cold. It wasn't being used that day. The site was that cold that the whole building inside had like cold soaked. So you can't see any distinguishing features of the structures and stuff because everything is the same temperature because it's been cold for a long period of time. It's soaked in all that cold, and it's just, you couldn't really see much. So there will be some clips, you know, afterwards where I was shining it, well, looking out my window with this when there was a bit of drama kicking off in my my street. But it's dead simple. You basically, I'm going to try and show you this. You basically hold the power button and it will come on like that. Oh, it's a little screen inside like a night vision optic. And you can see there it's just pink at the moment because we're looking at something that's just, you know, it's all the same temperature. So there's various different things that you can do here. So it's very easy to understand. You don't have to have a degree in physics to understand this. Now, it does have a built-in battery, which you charge with a USB-C port. You also can put in the CR123A battery. So if you're out and about and your rechargeable battery inside the scope depletes and you're like, oh crap, I've got no battery, you can literally just throw in a CR123A battery and it will get you back up and running. So it's kind of a good backup battery, like a contingency almost. You've got a bunch of menus that you can flick through on this thing, and I'm going to show you on the manual here because it's going to be very difficult to see it on camera. Let's grab this here. They do a couple of different models on their website, which is GOYOJO Optics. There's going to be, they've given me a link, so although they haven't had any influence over the review of this thing, basically they've gone, if any of you viewers want to get one, you can go and check out the link in the description and you can get, I think it's like 15% off. So they're not crazy expensive for what they are anyway. So the manual obviously shows you through all the functions and basically talks you through everything. I was just seeing if we've got a picture in here, but we might not have, but you'll see some in a moment. You can download the apps on your phone, whether you're Android or iPhone. The menu's pretty intuitive, but I really didn't have to mess around with it that much. If you like zeroing it and stuff, you probably would have to. So one thing I will say about this over the one leaf that we looked at, they're obviously two very different optics. The one leaf is a night vision optic, which is a digital night vision. It relies on IR light. This doesn't. There are some applications to this where it will make sense, and that will be out in woodland, either nighttime or daytime stuff. You can spot people hidden in bushes if you're looking for those ghillie guys that you really can't see unless they're using some sophisticated ghillie stuff which blocks IR, or blocks thermal, sorry, which most people aren't going to have that type of technology. This will pick them up, so it will stay on. So it's very easy. You hold the power button down and it will turn on and it will turn off. Then when you're looking through the optic, you can press the camera button and it will take a picture, or you can hold the camera button and it will take a video, start recording video. The only downside, the only thing I didn't like about this is, as far as I'm aware, I have looked everywhere, it doesn't have like a removable memory card. That's one thing where the one leaf, I think, trips this. So what I would have loved is if they had a memory card that you could just pull out. So if you're filming, bear in mind, the video that you take doesn't take up a lot of space anyway, because it's much lower resolution, but it would be nice to be able to swap memory cards if you so happen to fill it up on a weekend's game or something like that. So you do have to connect a USB to the optic itself to pull your video off. So we're going to get to some... oh yeah, sorry, the last button is this one here, where you can change the colour settings of the way it looks. So some of them actually benefit in different environments. So the one I liked was like a sort of pinky orange colour. It really, when you see the footage, you'll see it. It really made it much crisper. Now, what I will tell you before I show you these clips is that when you're looking through the optic, it's very clear because you're looking at a tiny screen that's sort of optimized for that resolution that it shoots in, which is always a lower resolution with thermal. When you put it into video software or you put it onto your computer, obviously you're going from like a 640 whatever pixel size it is to a 4K screen. It obviously enlarges it a lot and it pixelates it. So just keep that in mind. Even though it will look pixelated in the edit, when you obviously see it on this video, when you're looking through the optic, it looks crystal clear because that screen is much smaller. Hopefully that makes sense. So the first clip, like I say, I was at HC2, I was just mucking around. And the second clip, for a bit of context, the one night I looked outside the window, there's police cars absolutely everywhere, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And I'd just been sent this, and because it was dark, I couldn't find where my PVS 14 was, but I was like, you know what, this would be a perfect example to try out this optic, and we'll see if we can record some video with it, which I did actually manage to, which the kind of surprising thing with that was, you'll obviously see in the clip. So we'll get to the clips and then we'll come back afterwards and I'll tell you my final thoughts. The video resolution is in 4K. This is the original video resolution before I'm going to zoom it in. So this is a difference in how the pixel size is on the device compared to what you shoot on your phone and then what you put into the software. Same video source, but I've enlarged it 200% so you can see it a little bit better. Obviously, the more that you do that, the more pixelated it will be. So I'll do that again now and zoom it in a little bit further. This is at 300% now, and it's just showing you obviously what I look like walking towards the scope. It's obviously not the perfect setup because I'm just sitting it on an oil drum, but you kind of get the picture of the resolution difference, which is what I wanted to show. So I don't yet know if the thermals come out because I can't figure out how to play it on the device, but this is how dark this hallway is. Now, this is a really difficult test for this optic. Now, I say that, but what you've got to bear in mind is the environment that I'm in right now is like a fridge. So everything in here is pretty much almost the same temperature because it's been, vacant for the past 24 hours. It's super cold outside. So you're talking, somewhere in the region of like 3 to 6 degrees up here. So everything's been cooled to the same temperature, which is why you're not getting as much definition. But hopefully the optic can pick up when I'm walking past and you'll be able to see what I'm on about. But this is how dark it is.
Difficult to do on your own.
In these little clips here, I'm just messing around with the camera, trying to set it up. Obviously, it doesn't have... It'd be Good if I had some way of clamping this into like a tripod or something, but you can see obviously the white hot mode here. I'm just stepping in between structures. The cold soak is obviously very apparent. You can't see any distinction between structures until obviously my body heat enters the frame. But you can clearly see how easy it picks out the body heat to the rest of the area. And just, it is quite intuitive on how to use it. It's quite simple. It would be nice to sort of get rid of the camera icon and the time in the top left. It does say 23.8 yards there, so I must have hit the rangefinder at some point.
Changing over to white hot now. Hopefully this will display better. Let's give it a go.
With the white hot in this environment, it didn't quite work out as good. You can see, you can still see it clearly see me, but I'm not quite as pronounced with the white hot mode, and this is where flicking through the modes in different setups is going to benefit you. I'm just messing around here. We'll get to some better clips in just a moment, but I'm just sort of showing off how easy it picks up the heat when you're standing behind structures, behind camera netting and things like that.
Let's change that again. Let's go to chameleon mode.
So you're seeing what I see right now. So that's looking down the other side of the site. So the scope's set up down there. Hopefully I'll be able to overlay these. So what I'm behind now is actually like netting. So you've got netting, and then you've got gaps in the netting. You've got a solid structure here, and then we can peek out, and there we go. I can actually enhance the image. So right in the middle of the screen over there is where the scope is. This is enhanced, so this is not what you would normally see. It's normally much darker like this. That's what I'm seeing. So through the these Samsung phones are actually pretty damn impressive when you can put the enhancements on for night mode. So I'm just seeing, obviously I can't see what the scope's seeing because I've got it set up on a box over here. So we'll go back to dark. There's dark, that's how dark we are. So we're just using different sensors on the phone. So the scope is set up here. So I'm doing this on my own, so it's kind of difficult. And like I say, everything in here is the same ambient temperature, so you're not going to get definitive lines between structures and stuff because everything is the same temperature. Hopefully I can reiterate that enough. Now you'll see from the other footage I got from outside where everything isn't the same temperature, it's obviously a lot more easier to see what you're doing. So dark. This Optic probably isn't optimized for CQB because it's zoomed in, but if GOYOJO can do one that's just like a true one-time magnification, like almost like a red dot, maybe with a slight bit of zoom, but like a red dot, I think they'll do very well. So there we go. We're going to be looking in through to the shop, so you can see the residual heat coming from the shop there. That grey outline you see there is actually a propane tank. We've got different colours. On the blue you can really, it's really picking up either hot or cold where that tank is. So these different modes work better in different conditions almost. That's your normal, like, that's black hot. We've got white hot. And then we've got the rainbow chameleon mode, as I call it. So it's just very hard to get round that zoom. Now, if you're outdoors, what you could do is you could press the button and it's got zoom presets. But outdoors, this thing's going to be absolutely monstrous. So all the orange you see there is the heat coming from inside the shop. I'm actually trying to get in the right position here in a minute, and you'll see Mark was stood at the counter in the shop, and it's blocked by glass cabinets, so I was struggling to see him through the scope because glass, obviously you can't see thermal through glass, which you'll see here. I'm just trying to get him in picture. The glass cabinets are in the way. I'm stepping from side to side, and then eventually you'll see I get in the right position where I can pick him up behind the counter, and you can clearly see him wearing his glasses there. In these clips here, you'll see what I mean. There was something kicking off. I couldn't really see what was going on. I initially thought this ladder was here and that one of the police officers had climbed up onto the roof of this house here. What I will say is the phone camera can see more than I can with my eyeball. So where you can clearly see maybe in this footage that it isn't a police officer, me just looking out of a window, I couldn't really tell what was going on. So I was really confused, and I was like, what the bloody hell's going on here? Obviously, I'm looking out the front here. You can see the police dogs. This isn't even the amount of police that turned up. There was even more. So I was like, what the hell is going on? And initially, I thought, well, there must be something going on inside the house because it looks like there's a policeman on the roof as well. And it wasn't until I broke the thermal out I could really get an idea what's going on. You can see a policeman obviously talking to him here. This lad, I don't know what he's done. Just getting a bit of context as to the scene and what's going on. There's a couple of still images, and you can see when you actually take a photo, it reveals a lot more information in the window compared to when you're shooting video. So you can see engine blocks here, the cars, the policeman standing there. But let's get to the video clip and see exactly what was happening. Clicking through the footage here, you can actually see there's more information in the window again. So I'm not exactly sure what I've clicked in the settings, in the menu or anything like that as to what changed the information that's on show when you're videoing. It's going to take a bit of playing around. This is the first time I used the device, so you can see how quick I just got used to using it. Apologies if it shakes a bit, but I could actually see when I got the thermal on that this lad is actually on the roof. He's not meant to be there, and I'm hoping it comes through in the footage that I'm showing you, but you'll see that he's actually holding a pair of knives, which I could not see through camera. You probably wouldn't see it through night vision unless it was zoomed in. I'm just flicking through the modes here so you can see the different colorways. You can clearly see he's holding two blades. So this is when I was like, actually this is something serious going on, and the police are obviously trying to get him off the roof. Don't know anything about this lad or what's gone on, and there's nothing, you know, I'm not trying to comment on what the situation is with him. This is literally just an educational thing to show off the capabilities of the scope and to show what you can and what you can't see. So it was saying 6.3 yards there. That's not correct. It was probably about 30-ish meters, I'd probably say, from where I was recording from. But I'm just flicking through the modes, trying to get an idea. And then eventually I clocked, I was like, oh, he's actually got a couple of blades. And that's probably why the police are so concerned and why they've got police dogs there and everything like that. So as you can imagine, it's not the perfect filming environment. There's a lot of angles that the things that I'm trying to look at that are obviously blocked by buildings or brickwork from the house where I'm filming it. But you can clearly see police officers in their vests. You can see this lad on the roof. When I look down, you could see, obviously make out the perfect outline of the police car that's there. So the clarity, you're getting a bit of wash off the window where it's just clipping the window frame. So apologies for that one. But you can clearly see the ladder. And I think if you were out in a woodland environment, this would just be like even better. But you can clearly see the outlines of the house, the windows. Obviously, you can't see through the glass, but you can tell that all these guys aren't facing in your direction. You can clearly tell this guy's wearing a hoodie. So picking out certain details is very easy. There are bits on this, so you can see I'm actually zoomed in ×2 at the bottom there, and I'm coming back out. So it'll come out back to 1, but you've still got the magnification from the glass in the optic as well. So it's not actually 1x. It's just that digital zoom it's putting on inside the software of the scope. But hopefully you'll get a good indication when I'm flicking through the modes as well that some are better suited, like I say, to certain environments compared to others. The chameleon one I think I found was the best. You also have to think about when you're looking through this thing for a long time, let's say you are in a dark environment, you'll know this if you've used night vision before, having something bright on one eye and then coming back into a dark environment, you kind of like your one eye that you're looking through is going to be slightly impaired because it's got this bright light shining at it. And as soon as you take the scope away from your eye, which is the same you get with night vision, you're just going to, it's like staring at a light bulb and then trying to pick out details is what I'm trying to say. But you clearly get an idea what's going on here. Like I say, it's a bad example, but I thought it was just interesting because this was the first footage I filmed on it, and it just again shows how easy it is to pick up. There's tons of settings in this thing, so you can really chop and change it. I'll have to see what I change to put the different overlays on here. So you've got like degrees and, you know, your magnification, your iron hot. You can see memory card info there. You can see the date, which I don't think is correct. It might be correct, I'm not too sure. And obviously the degrees of where you're pitching the scope up and sort of tilting it from side to side. So overall, I'm very impressed with this. You can even see like the brakes and the alloy wheels and the residual heat in them and the tyres and everything like that. So it's very, very good. So hopefully you can see there what went down. Sorry for the stupid clips at the start of me at HCT. I was trying to make sure I was in the view shot of it, and I was trying to just show off, even though the environment was not a perfect environment. CQB, it's very close up. You can clearly see when someone's moving there because your body heat is so much different to the cold soaked area that we're in. This isn't really suited for CQB. Maybe if you're in an urban environment with longer distances, yes, it would be absolutely phenomenal. But in a close-knit CQB environment like HC2, at their new site, it probably would be better. But in their old site, it's not really suited. This is more suited for outdoors woodland use. And onto the second clip, apart from me being stupid in the first clips, but in the second clip, you can see I couldn't see what was going on. And I thought the guy on that roof was a policeman. I thought something was kicking off inside the house and they were just securing the area. Maybe they had a policeman on the roof just to see what was going on. And it actually turned out it wasn't. Not only could I see that through this, even though it's not, you can't really identify with thermal, but not only could I see was the guy that they were there for, or the kid that they were there for, was on the roof. I could also clearly see through the thermal that he was holding two knives. And when I was looking through the window of this, I was like, oh my God. And hopefully I've remembered to put a clip in there when I just filmed out my window with my phone. If I didn't, I apologise. I must have lost it with how dark the environment was. And you can see like with the policeman, it's picking up really nice. The engine block of the car that was pulled up, you can see all the residual heat in that as well. So picking out targets and stuff in woodland and long distance urban environments, this thing's going to be fantastic. The only real gripe I have with this would be a new product idea for GOYOJO. I would like to see them do a non-magnified version of this. So maybe something that's like half the size that I can throw on a rifle and it's not magnified and I can use it in a CQB environment to tell when these speedy boys are like in the little corners of the windows and stuff. So GOYOJO, if you're listening, I would love a more close range CQB orientated device. If you can do something like that, then I'm gonna definitely jump on it. It does have a rangefinder built in as well. I'm not sure if I mentioned that. So you can go through in the Optic and you can click it and it will tell you what range you're at. And what was funny was even in some, I didn't get clips of it, but when I was messing around with it, even sometimes when you're shooting, you can see the BB and you can track it. And I think if you want a good sort of example of this, you know, my counterpart or someone that does content very similar to me, Stupid Airsoft in the US, he did a video and you can see it in his video, you can clearly see the BBs and it's kind of like, how am I seeing that? You know, low resolution screen, it's thermal, it's not like night vision or anything like that. So it is a very, very good device. I think if you want a thermal optic that can record video for woodland and outdoor games, this is far cheaper than anything else, like all the ATN units that you see, 3-4 grand you're paying. They do have a lot more features and maybe a little bit more resolution, but this is so much cheaper. They do it, as you'll see on the model here, it says RF. That's because it's equipped with a rangefinder. I think they do a model without the rangefinder. It's not much cheaper, but to be honest with you, I don't think we really need that unless you want to basically verify at what distance you're hitting people and stuff like that. So really easy to use. You've got the focus on the front, the focus on the back. You've got the cup to sort of hide it if you're in a nighttime environment, to hide the glare off the screen that's coming through the scope. You've got a CR123A battery backup in case the internal battery does go down, but during me filming it, I didn't run out of battery and I didn't run out of card space. It's actually quite efficient of a device. The top turret obviously you use for all your adjustments, and yeah, hopefully I've portrayed this as best I can for you. So I'm going to be perhaps slapping this on some kind of bolt action or a DMR, and then maybe we can get out when the weather's better, or if I'm at a more if I'm at an event that makes more sense, I can record some footage of actually shooting people through this optic. So hope you've enjoyed this little different thing here. I think this is a phenomenal product for the price point that it's at, and I'm not paid to do that. I could literally come in here and tell you it's rubbish, but honestly, I'm so surprised with how good this device is. I was expecting it to be bad for the price that it's at, but honestly, for the price that it's at, I think it's an absolutely great optic. And like I said, Stupid Airsoft over in the US, that's literally his name of his YouTube channel. I do watch his stuff all the time. He managed to get his video out a lot quicker than what I did. I've had so many things stacked up in the queue, which I have said to GOYOJO. I was like, look, I've got loads of videos coming up, just bear with me. But I've had a phenomenal time with this. And GOYOJO, if you are listening to this video, the most important takeaway, I want this, but I want it in a more CQB or close engagement sort of setup where I have no magnification. I would love if you guys could do something like that and give us something where maybe it's just a screen on the back like other companies have done. And yeah, so the other thing I would probably say as well is if they could do some kind of, you see like these titanium meshes that people can put over thermals. So there's nothing protecting this glass from being shot. So if you did get this shot up at close range, this probably would break the lens. I'm not sure what their warranty is like, or whether they could repair it. So that might be a question for them. So this is the GOYOJO Optics GRS225RF, which is the rangefinder model, which you don't really need. Great time with this, like I said, and really appreciate them sending this out to me so I could check it out. Like I said, they've given a link, which I'll be putting in the description below, which will give you 15% off your order. And they actually got it out to me very, very quick once they'd sent it. It didn't take long to turn up. And thank you very much for watching this video. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you didn't laugh too much at me being an idiot trying to record myself HC2. But appreciate it as always. As well as the link in the description, there'll be a link for the Jaeger Discord. Come and get involved in the Jaeger community. And as always, from me and Bench, we'll be seeing you in the next one.